continues to escalate, with a notable increase in female involvement in drug use compared to previous years. In a chat with BCOS News, Dr. Victor Makanjola, a consultant psychiatrist at the University College Hospital, Ibadan, highlighted the severe repercussions of drug addiction among women, particularly during pregnancy, where substance use can impact both the mother and the unborn child.
When a teenager is feeling low and unhappy most of the times, usually teenagers talk to teenagers. If they say that to a friend, they say, "Oh, you're feeling low. Why don't you try alcohol? It will make you feel better. Why don't you try marijuana? It will make you feel better." So they tend to now use this as a way to feel better, which in the short term actually works, that they feel better. But if you continue to use, then they will develop drug addiction.
Dr. Makanjola stressed that to understand addiction, one must look beyond the substance itself and examine the factors that contribute to individual vulnerability. In the view of a drug addiction rehabilitation expert, Pastor Tunji Agbola, addiction often develops gradually, beginning with substance abuse before progressing into dependence.
Everybody is lacking the focus on appropriate development of our young people. And even where it all begins, the home. Families don't have the time to pay attention to their young people and so on and so forth like that. Young people, by chemistry, by biology, they look for thrills. They look for risky things. Because they are young, they are not experienced. There's a part of their brain called the amygdala that drives all this risk-taking, adventurism, and so on and so forth. In the olden days, in time past, there is a clear distinction between boys and girls in the way they do things. However, you have a lot more young women getting into this. And some of them are even influencing their boyfriends or their friends who are male into the use of drugs.
Both experts agree that despite the growing extent of drug addiction, access to treatment and rehabilitation services remains limited, with only a small proportion of individuals in need receiving proper care and assistance.
Using substances, either just in a harmful manner or in a regular, repeated manner that results in addiction, has a lot of mental health consequences. And that is one of the reasons why one should advocate for prevention, because once those mental health consequences are established, treatment will be necessary, and it's not always guaranteed that full recovery will take place. Yes, many people recover fully, but there will be a few that may develop lifelong mental health challenges from this substance use.
There's a higher rate of success than for relapse to happen if the rehab program is well done, particularly when you allow the individual to own the treatment. But then the individual need to see that, look, this is our life, and try to want to get better of it. However, relapse is a real thing.
The respondents agree that while treatment and rehabilitation are available, complete recovery cannot always be guaranteed, stressing that prevention and abstinence remain the most effective ways of tackling drug addiction. Adiola Oladile, BCOS News.
Operatives of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC Edo State Command have arrested 3 suspected internet fraudsters over an alleged 7 million naira fraud involving a Nigerian resident in Italy. The suspects, identified as Peter Odion, 21, Anthony Ernest, 20, and Destiny Saturday, 20, all from Ebele in Igweben local government area, allegedly used a female photograph to establish contact with the victim on Facebook. The Edo State NSCDC Commandant, Akitayo Saidi Ayinla, said Destiny allegedly posed as a female native doctor and claimed to possess spiritual powers capable of making the victim rich. He said the victim was allegedly convinced and made several payments for the purported spiritual work before realizing that he had been defrauded, after which a petition was submitted to the NSCDC. Ayinla said operatives acting on the petition and using intelligence-driven tracking traced and arrested the 3 suspects who reportedly confessed to the offense and would be charged to court after investigations. We shall now take a short commercial break. Please stay with us.
My skin is my identity, my strength. It's unique and deserves care made specially for me. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Advanced Care with 5 oils and 5 vitamins. 48-hour nourishment. Helps reduce appearance of stretch marks in just 2 weeks. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Advanced Care for your shade of beautiful.
You're welcome back. The Oyo State government has congratulated the chairman of the Trade Union Congress, TUC, in Oyo State, Comrade Bosun Olabiyi Aguru, on his emergence as the president of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasan. Acting governor of the state, Barrister Abdurrahim Bayo Lawal, in a statement signed today by Special Advisor Media to Oyo State Governor Dr. Sulaiman Olaniwaju, described Olabiyi Aguru's emergence as a good development for the association, noting that Comrade Olabiyi Aguru's experience, exposure, and patriotism will be brought to bear in taking Pengasan to the next level. He lauded the Oyo TUC chairman for being a worthy ambassador of Oyo State, who has continued to excel as a pacesetter in line with the state's identity. According to him, the Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, is delighted that a leading labor unionist in the state who has worked with the administration towards instituting better welfare package for the workforce has emerged as a leader of a foremost trade union group like Pengasan. The state of Nigeria's government-owned refineries has continued to generate debate, particularly over their prolonged downtime, huge rehabilitation costs, and successive efforts to restore them to full operation. While the federal government continues to defend its investments in the facilities, stakeholders have raised questions about accountability, efficiency, and the proposed ownership structure. In this report, Olamide Olabi examines the journey so far and the state of the refineries under past and present administrations.
Nigeria's government-owned refineries have remained a subject of concern, with successive administrations committing huge resources to their rehabilitation and prolonged shutdowns and operational challenges. The debate has been renewed following the criticism by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who accused President Bola Tinubu administration of shifting responsibility for the troubled refineries to previous governments and called for accountability over funds committed to the facilities. The 3 major government-owned refineries in Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna did not shut down simultaneously. Their decline was gradual, with years of underinvestment, maintenance challenges, and other structural problems affecting their operations before eventual shutdowns. Attempts by successive administrations to revive the facilities have recorded varying degrees of progress, including partial restarts and rehabilitation projects. However, concerns over operational efficiency and financial sustainability have continued to trail the investments. In 2007, the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua cancelled the controversial sale of the Port Harcourt refinery to the consortium led by Dangote Oil, after that transaction was deemed not to be in the nation's best interest. Years later, the debate over the viability of the refineries remains unresolved. President Bola Tinubu has also disagreed with former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who claims that the Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna refineries may never become fully operational. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasan, has argued that the refineries were shut down because they were losing money rather than simply because they were incapable of functioning. For the Oyo State Chairman of Trade Union Congress, Comrade Bosun Olabiyi, attributing the refinery crisis entirely to previous administrations does not completely exonerate the present government. He said the ultimate test will be whether the current administration succeeds in reviving the facilities and making them economically viable.
We believe the refinery can work. Port Harcourt refinery was actually producing but was not profitable due to the setup that was between the old refinery and the new refinery. So we have implored them, we have begged them, we have appealed to them that Nigeria needs to have a stake in the refinery, and we are totally against 100% privatization of this refinery.
Comrade Olabi also argued that refinery technology is not beyond Nigeria's capacity, pointing to the Dangote refinery as evidence that large-scale refining can be successfully undertaken in the country. For renewable energy specialist, engineer Abraham Amole, functional government-owned refineries would provide significant benefits to Nigerians. He, however, said the refinery crisis is a long-standing national problem that cannot be attributed to one administration.
When you look at the energy situation in Nigeria, okay, you will realize that it's a long-standing problem over 2, 3, 4 decades that it still remains unresolved. However, the current government is making efforts. The question is the efforts, the funds, the capital being invested in this sector. The question is it translating to the expected result?
Amale stressed that government effort should be assessed not only by funds committed, but by the physical and economical results achieved. He called for a strong institutional framework to ensure that every naira or dollar allocated to refinery rehabilitation produces measurable value and is properly accounted for.
Government must look at one, the policy aspect of it, where license is being issued to private players objectively. Government must be intentional about government itself being able to run its own refinery. Whatever makes an individual to run its own refinery, develop it and run it, okay, makes government also to do the same.
The ownership structure of the refineries have also emerged as another contentious issue. Stakeholders, including organized labor groups, have opposed calls for complete privatization of the facilities, arguing that the refineries remain strategic national assets. They favor a model similar to the Nigerian LNG arrangement, where private investors hold a majority stake while government retains a significant ownership interest. According to them, this would allow private capital and expertise to drive efficiency while ensuring that government retains an interest in the country's strategic petroleum infrastructure. Beyond the politics of who take responsibility, the central question remains whether Nigeria can transform its long-troubled refineries into efficient and commercially viable assets. Olamide Owolabi, BCOS News.
The rapid expansion of internet access and digital technology is reshaping how people consume written contents. Increasingly, readers, particularly young and urban populations, are turning to online platforms for convenience, affordability, and instant access. The growing preference for digital content is placing pressure on traditional publishers, challenging long-established business models and revenue streams. Our correspondent, Temitope Ogunleye, reports, and the report is presented by Olamide Owolabi.
The rise of online reading has significantly changed how people access books and information. Today, many readers prefer using phones, tablets, and computers because digital content is faster and more accessible. However, experts say it is important to distinguish between general online content and formal educational materials. Most digital content consumed online differs from the structured textbooks produced by publishers, which are based on curricula approved by the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council. These textbooks remain essential in schools, particularly for students preparing for examinations, making print materials stay highly relevant. Speaking on the development, President of the Nigerian Publishers Association, Alhaji Lukman Dauda, said online reading has had limited impact on core publishing operations, especially in the education sector.
Most of what we have there are what we call general titles, that is readers, fiction and non-fiction stories. That's what we have there. But talking of core curriculum books, that's classroom text. You can hardly find them there. Simply because the rate of assimilation, reading on digital device is quite low compared to you reading the print. You can be reading, but are you assimilating? So, to a very large extent, at least in this environment I have ours, and I won't say here alone, you probably have been privy to, a recent release from Sweden that happens to be one of the few countries that went digital since about 15 years ago. And they had to refer to the printing now, the print books, because their assessment and evaluation of performance of students showed that the rate failure was getting higher and higher by the year. So what did they do? They reverted to the old order. The old order is the paper book.
He explained that most online materials do not directly compete with curriculum-based textbooks, which continue to play a critical role in academic learning and assessment.
There's no way the digital option will override the print option. We need to accommodate it as another alternative, especially with the kind of mentality I mentioned earlier of an average Nigerian. They turn it into a class thing, that if you can't read on your device, you don't belong. But that is not the issue. The issue is how much of knowledge do you gain by reading through your device compared to reading the paper. And because of reading on your device, so many other things will be popping up, like cookies, things they call cookies. So those ones are distractions. And if you're not careful, you'll not be paying more attention to the distractions than the major thing that you're doing.
Alhaji Dauda added that while some publishers have adopted digital formats, these are largely focused on general reading materials such as fiction and non-fiction. Core textbooks in notes remains predominantly in print. As a result, the overall volume of print production has not been significantly affected by the rise of online reading. The MP president maintained that print publishing remains dominant, stressing that students often retain information better while reading from physical books. He concluded that both print and digital formats will continue to coexist, noting that distractions associated with digital devices make printed books more effective for focused learning.
Markets remain vital systems through which goods and services are exchanged. Over time, the concept has evolved from physical locations where buyers and sellers interact face-to-face to digital platforms enabling transactions across the globe. Staff reporter Olubomi Lawal examines both traditional and online markets, highlighting their features, advantages, and challenges.
Traditional markets are physical locations where buyers and sellers meet directly to exchange goods and services. These include local markets, street markets, and shopping centers. They are characterized by face-to-face interaction, physical inspection of goods before purchase, and immediate exchange of goods and payments, often within fixed operating hours. On the other hand, online markets are digital platforms where transactions are conducted over the internet. These include e-commerce websites, mobile applications, and social media marketplaces. Online trading allows access to a wide range of products from different sellers, offering greater convenience, wider reach, and the use of digital payment systems. Some traders and buyers in traditional markets told BCOS News they prefer physical transaction as it allows them to verify the quality of goods and negotiate prices directly.
When I go to the market, I see what I want to buy, and if it is okay for me, I get to pay for it based on my own personal interest. But online marketing, sometimes it is not what you order for that you may get. So I prefer traditional markets to online marketing.
Prefer traditional markets. Traditional markets gives room for bargaining, but online there's a fixed price already, so you just have to buy that amount. Traditional marketing, also, you have varieties, you have options, but for online marketing, it's what is there is what is there.
Kò sí ní tí o tẹ́ wa lọ́rùn, kán ọ̀dà kándẹ̀ wà kò sí tí ò dáwà lọ́rùn báyẹn àmọ́ káwọn èèyàn ó sì pè wá ju tó ní máa rí nǹkan tí máa fẹ́ rà ju kan wọ́n dà lọ.
Kò sí nǹkan tó ní advantages àti ò ní disadvantages tí wọ́n máa gbé ọjà finance online wọ́n yẹ pé nǹkan tí at times nǹkan tí ó dà kan náà máa gbé fún yín but tí wọ́n wá sọ́jà advantages ọ̀rẹ́ tí wọ́n sọ́jà ẹ máa rí nǹkan tí ẹ fẹ́ rà clearly so wọn kan yá balẹ̀ lórí ẹ̀ ju online at times so gbogbo ẹ méjèèjì ó wọnú ara wọn.
Meanwhile, online sellers say digital platforms give them broader visibility, attracting customers from different parts of the world. Buyers also noted that online shopping enables them to place orders conveniently from the comfort of their homes.
I'm a business owner online, so I believe online connects you to many people. Like I am currently staying in Ibadan. I can send stuff over to Kwara State, even the northern part of Nigeria. So I'd say online marketing is very okay, but we should not cancel traditional markets.
There is not much difference between the two, but sometimes we have orders online more than walk-ins because we have different people ordering from interstate, and outside states. The list we have sometimes is like 50 customers, the list we have, but the sales is very, very much.
I prefer online markets because sometimes you might not feel like going to market and want to order things online. And also, is this thing, if you don't check their list very well, you might be like, this bag is of this size, but if you don't follow it, that's why some people will just be like, they prefer like going to market because they feel like, if they order something online, this might not be what the person will bring to them.
Both traditional and online markets continue to play significant roles in modern commerce. While traditional markets offer personal interaction and instant satisfaction, online markets provide convenience and wider accessibility. Increasingly, many businesses are adopting hybrid approach, combining both systems to expand their reach and improve efficiency. Olubumi Lawal, BCOS News.
Oyo State government has been charged to intensify efforts towards the promotion and preservation of Yoruba culture and tradition as Egungun festivals are gradually becoming attractive to the younger generation and the larger society. The Oniro of Otu, His Royal Majesty Oba Sunday Adepoju Ayilola III Badewolu I gave the admonition at the 2026 annual Egungun Festival in the ancient town of Otu. Our Okyogun correspondent Gerande Kazim covered the events, and the report is presented by staff reporter Imbo Akambi.
The festival was organized under the auspices of the Oniro of Otu, Oluigbu of Igbujai, Oba Zaccheaus Oladmeji, and the representative of the Olugunwa of Okeamu. The event also attracted adherents and spectators from far and near. The Oniru of Otu, Oba Sunday Adepoju, who commended Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State for the approval and celebration of Isheshe Festival in Oyo State, stressed that it is imperative for the government to be proactive in the promotion and preservation of Yoruba culture and heritage, particularly Egungun festivals, in order to make it acceptable, competitive, and boost tourism. Oba Adepoju emphasized that the acrobatic dances and dexterity of Egunguns, which attracted viewers, should be modernized as it requires systemic approach. The monarch cited the example of the recently held Egungun festival in the ancient town of Oyo with branded costumes with the names of each masquerade and their clan. The monarch promised to replicate the example set by Oyo masquerades. Oba Adepoju admonished Otu indigents, home and abroad, to contribute their quota to the growth and development of their fatherland.
Ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ó ti gbé ìṣe lárugẹ. Ẹ rí i pé wọ́n ti fi ogúnjọ́ oṣù kẹjọ ọdún 20 every August 20 wọ́n ti declare ní popular day ó lè máa ṣe ìṣẹ̀ṣe. Ẹ sì rí i pé gbogbo àwọn ọ̀dọ́ lọ́kùnrin lóbìnrin ti mọ̀ ọ́n lókùnkúndùn wọ́n wálé wọ́n tún yáyá wọ́n tún yára láti wọlé láti wá gbé ọdún Egúngún festival ya 2026 lárugẹ.
In his goodwill message, the Oluigbo of Igbojaye, His Royal Majesty Obazakios Oladimeji Badiwolu rejoiced with Oniru of Otu and the entire people of Otu on the auspicious occasion and charged them to contribute meaningfully to the development of Otu.
ọdún náà bá ṣe ń ṣe wọ́n ní ìgbín ọba àforígbó bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ẹ̀rẹ̀ náà ká wàrà lè ṣe ẹ̀rẹ̀ náà já ọlọ́run jẹ́ ká ṣe jìnnà ká ṣọ̀pọ̀ ọdún láyé.
As modernization and Western influence continue to shape society, concerns are mounting over the gradual erosion of indigenous culture and history among younger generations. In this report, staff reporter Gbemisola Adebayo examines the importance of preserving the memories and legacies of our forebears through arts, cultural displays, monuments, and statues as means of sustaining identity, values, and tradition. Here are the details of the report.
Culture is widely regarded as the identity of a people, a reflection of their history, beliefs, values, and way of life. It is often said that one who knows nothing about his culture is like a tree without roots. For decades, statues, monuments, and cultural artifacts have served as reminders of heroic figures, historic events, and the achievements of past generations. They help younger people understand their origins and appreciate the sacrifices made by their forebears. However, Nigeria's rich cultural heritage is gradually fading, largely due to westernization and the rapid advancement of information and communication technology. Some students who spoke with BCOS News displayed varying levels of understanding of their cultural backgrounds, while a few showed knowledge of their local traditions and historic figures. Others admitted they knew little and nothing about their roots.
I'm from Edo State. I don't really live in my state, but at least sometimes they celebrate some things like Yam Festival.
Have you been to your hometown before?
Yes.
How many times?
Once.
So when you went there, what does it feel like?
I feel at least there are some things that really surprised me because I don't really know much about them, but at least something surprised me. I was surprised. It was fun.
Our culture is so fantastic. I love the way I'm proud of Yoruba again. I love the culture. I love the nature. I love everything about it. Something unique about Yoruba culture is because the way we dress, our dressing. People from abroad love it very much. Gain more of it so they can use it in their own country.
The development, according to cultural enthusiasts, underscores the urgent need for renewed awareness and investment in cultural education. Speaking on the importance of preserving cultural heritage, the curator of the National Museum of Unity, Ibadan, Mrs. Oriyomi Otuka, explained that arts, monuments, and traditional relics are not mere decorations, but historical tools that connect people to their ancestry. According to her, preserving cultural heritage through museums, statues, and artistic expressions helps protect indigenous identity in the face of growing foreign influence and modernization.
When you talk about a statue, it's an image that is carved or made or sculpted for memory. For instance, now we will talk about an image of Shango or an image of Eshu. We're talking about memory. We're talking about things that we use. We use this to showcase the past, what has happened in the past, and to represent a particular deity. We have conservators that preserve these images over the years, so that generations yet unborn will see, come to look at it and see it. Because most of the things that you see, most of them are well over 100 years, the artifacts. They are no longer an ordinary image. So when we want to preserve these things, we preserve it with much care, because we don't want anything happening to it. Once a part is broken, history is already distorted. It's no longer full.
She stressed the need for parents, schools, and government institutions to deliberately educate children on local languages, customs, festivals, and traditional history. Mrs. Otuka further maintained that preserving the memories of forebears goes beyond erecting statues or keeping artifacts in museums, noting that it also involves passing down stories, values, and traditions that define society.
Easy to teach the children. We also use it as a research because we have lots of master's holders, secondary school, first degree holders coming in here to do their projects. So once they come, these images are here. You know, we open our doors to them. They will look at it. They will ask us questions. They will also research on it. When we have students coming in that the museum is useful or that we're making good money. But it's when we have tourists, and where the museum is well placed, is well situated, is quite accessible, it's not in the bush. People will come in, they will definitely come in. And when people come in like that, we'll be around the museum. You will see we have food sellers, we have hotels. You know, when they have these things on ground, we are creating employment for people.
Observers say that if deliberate efforts are not made to promote cultural consciousness among young people, future generations may become disconnected from their heritage, a development they describe as detrimental to national identity and unity. Bimsola Adebayo, BCOS News.
At least 3 people have been wounded following a wave of coordinated arson attacks across southern Thailand, with more than 50 incidents targeting government offices, vehicles, and other properties. The attacks, which occurred late Saturday, were concentrated in Nathawita province, where authorities imposed an overnight curfew, while in neighboring Yala and Patani provinces were also affected. Foreign Desk Editor Falashade Akintola compiled the story and others as presented by Bimbo Akombi.
Multiple local government offices and several vehicles were damaged or destroyed in the 51 attacks late on Saturday, according to the military's Internal Security Operations Command, ISOC. Firefighters worked to extinguish burning tires left in the middle of a road and flames inside a 7-Eleven convenience store on Saturday night, while police officers stopped motorists for security checks. Footage from the local broadcaster Thai PBS showed. Most of the attacks were in Narathiwat province, where 3 civilians were wounded and an overnight curfew was imposed, while other attacks occurred in neighboring Yala and Patani provinces, authorities said. Since 2004, a low-level conflict has simmered in the southmost provinces of Buddhist-majority Thailand, killing more than 7,000 people, as rebels in the Muslim-majority region battle for greater autonomy. No group has claimed responsibility for Saturday's attacks. India's Coast Guard and Navy continued search and rescue operations off the eastern coast on Sunday after a Panama-flagged bulk carrier carrying 24 crew members sank, with 2 Chinese nationals rescued, a senior official said. The 2 Chinese seafarers said the vessel called the Ocean Winner had developed a list on Friday and sank within 8 minutes, forcing the crew to abandon ship. Shyam Jagannathan, Director General of India's Maritime Administration, told Reuters. Jagannathan said the chances of finding survivors generally fall sharply after the first 12 hours, but rescuers were continuing their search. The missing crew members include 18 more Chinese nationals, 3 Myanmar nationals, and 1 Bangladeshi, according to India's Coast Guard. The Indian Navy is closely coordinating with the Coast Guard to locate the missing seafarers, the Navy said in a post on X. 2 Coast Guard vessels from Sri Vijayapuram, formerly known as Port Blair, the capital of India's Andaman and Nicobar archipelago, were dispatched for the search and rescue operations, a Coast Guard spokesman said. The Ocean Winner was carrying iron ore bound for China after departing from India's eastern Paradip port on Friday, according to an initial report prepared by India's Maritime Administration. And finally, 2 Israeli airstrikes in the Gaza Strip on Sunday killed at least 2 people, including a 4-year-old boy, and wounded 7 others, Palestinian health officials said. One of the strikes hit a building in Zawayada town in the center of the enclave and followed a warning by the Israeli army for the owners of the property to leave the area, residents said. Medics said flying debris and shrapnel that spread for dozens of meters around had wounded at least 6 people, including the 4-year-old Mohammed Abdul Salam Taha, who was later pronounced dead at hospital. The second airstrike took place in the nearby Nuseirat refugee camp, the health official said. Israel's military said it was looking into both strikes. Bimbo Akambi, BCOS News.
To end the news around the world, here again are the main points. The federal government has pulled about 25 billion naira raised from gifts received by First Lady Oluremi Tinubu during her birthday celebration with funds from the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED Fund, to revive the abandoned National Library of Nigeria headquarters complex in Abuja. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have arrested our 101-year-old great-grandmother, Esther Ogumabo, in Ilisa, Ogun State, for allegedly dealing in illicit drugs after she was found with 90 grams of skunk, which she reportedly sold to locals. At least 3 people have been wounded following a wave of coordinated arson attacks across the southern Thailand, with more than 50 incidents targeting government offices, vehicles, and other properties. BCOS TV is now on Niger TV app, and you can watch us from any part of the world. Also, BCOS website is live. Kindly visit www.bcostv.com. You can also reach us on GoTV channel 134 and channel 113 on Star Times. Now, before I go, if you see something suspicious, alert the authority for timely response. Be vigilant. And that ends the news around the world. On behalf of the news crew, I say thank you very much for watching.